The silence from Iwata has finally been broken, and the implications are sending shockwaves through every corner of the global motorsport paddock. For decades, the Yamaha Motor Company has been defined by a singular, unwavering commitment to the inline-four engine architecture. It was more than just a mechanical choice. It was a cultural identity that propelled legends like Valentino Rossi and Jorge Lorenzo to multiple world titles. However, the modern era of MotoGP has been unkind to tradition. As the 2026 season approaches, the internal atmosphere at Yamaha has shifted from quiet confidence to a radical high-stakes overhaul. Reports from insiders suggest that the Japanese giant is officially abandoning its decades-old philosophy in favor of a V4 engine platform. This is not merely a technical update. It is a desperate structural pivot necessitated by the overwhelming dominance of European manufacturers like Ducati and KTM. The pressure to innovate has reached a boiling point, and the decision to move toward a V4 configuration represents a multi-million-dollar gamble that few saw coming. This transition is being handled with extreme secrecy, but the objective is clear. Yamaha is no longer content with being an agile outlier in a world of raw horsepower. They are rebuilding their entire racing DNA from the ground up, seeking to bridge a performance gap that has grown increasingly wide over the last 3 seasons. The paddock is buzzing with speculation about how quickly a manufacturer can master such a complex change, especially when the stakes include the brand's future in the premier class. This is the beginning of a new era, one defined by the total dismantling of the past to secure a foothold in an uncertain future. In the midst of this technical turmoil, Yamaha has placed its bets on a rider whose style is considered a mathematical impossibility by most engineers. Toprak Razgatlıoğlu is not your typical motorcycle racer. Hailing from Sakarya, Turkey, his journey to the pinnacle of the sport has been marked by an aggressive, stunt-influenced approach that defies conventional racing lines. Known globally for his staggering ability to manipulate a bike under heavy deceleration, Toprak has become the centerpiece of Yamaha's 2026 strategy. However, the transition from production-based superbikes to the prototype world of MotoGP is notoriously treacherous. Many elite riders have attempted this leap, only to find their careers stalled by the unforgiving nature of prototype tires and carbon fiber braking systems. For Toprak, the challenge is even more profound. He is stepping into a project that is still in its experimental phase, tasked with providing feedback on a V4 engine that is essentially a blank canvas. Critics have voiced concerns that his stoppy style, where the rear wheel frequently leaves the ground during corner entry, might be incompatible with the sensitive aerodynamics and ride height devices of a modern MotoGP machine. Yet Yamaha sees this anomaly as their greatest asset. Instead of forcing the Turkish star to conform to a failing system, they are reportedly engineering the new V4 platform to accommodate his unique physical inputs. This synergy between rider and machine is a two-way street that requires immense patience. Behind the scenes, the training sessions have been grueling, as Toprak works to recalibrate his internal sensors to the immense grip levels of the Michelin front tire. It is a psychological and physical battle, fought far from the cameras, as he prepares to prove that a rider's raw talent can still outweigh a computer's optimization. Deep within the high-security testing facilities, a new sound is emerging, a guttural V4 roar that signals the end of Yamaha's loyalty to the Inline-Four. The development of the new V4 engine has been described by paddock insiders as a Herculean effort by Yamaha's engineering department in Japan. Transitioning an entire racing program to a new engine layout mid-regulation is a task that usually takes years of steady refinement, but Yamaha has accelerated the timeline to meet the demands of the 2026 season. The V4 architecture offers several distinct advantages that the previous M1 lacked, specifically in terms of centralizing mass and narrowing the frontal profile for better aerodynamic efficiency. This shift allows for a more aggressive weight distribution, which is crucial for a rider like Razgatlıoğlu who relies heavily on front-end stability during high-speed braking maneuvers. However, the early testing phases have not been without significant setbacks. Reports indicate that the initial power delivery of the V4 prototype was explosive, leading to issues with electronic integration and tire longevity. Engineers are working around the clock to refine the fly-by-wire throttle maps to ensure the power is manageable over a full race distance. There are also whispered concerns regarding the cooling efficiency of the new layout, as the rear cylinders of a V4 engine are notoriously difficult to keep within optimal temperature ranges. This technical dispute has led to heated debates within the garage, as crew chiefs and data analysts strive to find a balance between raw top speed and the user-friendly nature that once made the Yamaha the most rideable bike on the grid. Every lap completed in these private tests is a data goldmine, but it also highlights the sheer mountain Yamaha must climb to reach the level of their European rivals who have perfected the V4 concept over the last decade. The strategic move to house Toprak within the satellite Pramac structure is a move of calculated shielding, designed to keep the pressure of the factory spotlight at bay. In a move that surprised many industry analysts, Yamaha chose to place their star recruit in the satellite Pramac squad rather than the factory Monster Energy team for the 2026 season. On the surface, this might look like a demotion, but from a reporter's perspective, it is a masterclass in talent management. By placing Toprak in a satellite environment, Yamaha provides him with factory-level equipment without the suffocating corporate pressure and media scrutiny that comes with being a factory Yamaha rider. This Pramac experiment allows the team to conduct high-risk development work in a more controlled atmosphere. It provides Toprak with a buffer zone where he can make the inevitable rookie mistakes, experiencing the occasional low-side incident or technical DNF, without it becoming a headline-grabbing disaster for the primary brand. However, the tension remains palpable. The Pramac crew, known for their efficiency and technical prowess, is essentially becoming an extension of Yamaha's R&D department. They are tasked with interpreting Toprak's unconventional feedback and translating it into mechanical adjustments that the factory engineers in Iwata can implement. This collaboration is a high-wire act. If the communication fails, the entire project could stall. Rumors suggest that the data-sharing protocols between the factory team and the satellite team have been completely overhauled to ensure that every kilobyte of information from Toprak's bike is utilized. This is a massive logistical undertaking, involving hundreds of personnel across 2 continents, all working toward the same goal, ensuring that by the time the 2027 regulation reset occurs, the Yamaha V4 is the most refined and capable machine on the starting grid. While the 2026 season is the stage for the drama, the real endgame is the radical 850/cc$ regulation reset of 2027, the moment Yamaha plans to reclaim the throne. MotoGP World is currently standing on the precipice of a massive technical shift. In 2027, the engine capacity will be reduced to 850/cc$. Aerodynamics will be significantly restricted, and the ride height devices that currently dominate race strategies will be banned. This is the great reset that Yamaha has been banking on. For a manufacturer that has been playing catch-up, these new rules represent a level playing field where their new V4 engine can shine. By the time 2027 arrives, Toprak Razgatlıoğlu will have a full year of experience with the V4 platform, the Michelin tires, and the complex electronics of a prototype machine. Yamaha's strategy is long-form. They are using 2026 as a live-action laboratory, sacrificing immediate podium results for long-term technical dominance. The 2027 regulations will place a higher premium on mechanical grip and rider skill, areas where Toprak is statistically superior to much of the current grid. Without the electronic crutches of current aero packages and ride height gadgets, the ability to manually control a bike's pitch and yaw becomes the deciding factor in victory. This is exactly why Yamaha is developing a flexible chassis concept that allows for more feedback under extreme lean angles. The Paddock whispers suggest that Yamaha's 2027 prototype is already hitting performance benchmarks that have left internal testers stunned. If this project succeeds, it will be hailed as the greatest comeback in the history of Japanese motorsport. But the road to that glory is paved with uncertainty, and every race in 2026 is a high-speed test of whether this massive investment will lead to a championship trophy or a monumental collapse of a racing empire. As the sun sets on the era of the Inline-Four, the story of Yamaha and Toprak remains a testament to the high-stakes nature of professional competition. The aftermath of this project will define the legacy of everyone involved. For Yamaha, a failure to return to the front of the pack would signal a permanent shift in power toward the European manufacturers, potentially marking the end of Japanese dominance in the sport. For Toprak Razgatlıoğlu, this is a career-defining moment. He is nearly 30 years old. This is his one and only opportunity to transition from a superbike legend to a MotoGP icon. The emotional highs and lows of this journey have been reflected in the faces of the crew members and the social media reactions of millions of fans worldwide. There is a sense that we are witnessing history in the making, a Marquez-style impact that could disrupt the current hierarchy. The project is a two-way street of sacrifice and innovation. Yamaha is sacrificing their heritage, and Toprak is sacrificing his comfort zone as a dominant champion in another series. As we move closer to the 2027 season, the experimental phase will eventually have to produce results. The paddock will be watching every sector time and every technical update with intense scrutiny. This isn't just about winning races. It's about proving that a manufacturer can admit its mistakes, pivot its entire philosophy, and rise again through the sheer force of engineering and raw talent. Whether it ends in a celebratory podium in Qatar or a quiet exit from the paddock, the Yamaha V4 project with Toprak Razgatlıoğlu will be remembered as the boldest move of the modern era. The journey is far from over. And the next chapter of this documentary will depend on how that 850-tech cc engine performs when the red lights finally go out for the first time in the new era.